Hey everybody, Matthew and Steve here from MiniWarGaming.com, and welcome to this first impression / review of the Orruk Warclans Destruction Battletome.
Bringing them back together.
Yes, bringing them back together where they belong.
Yeah.
All this time. I just roll in some new orcs and we're good to go.
Eventually.
Yeah, so, okay, a little disclaimer before we start. We're going to call this a first impressions more than a review because I haven't played a game with the new ones yet, and Steve played one, which you can watch in the MiniWarGaming Vault at the link below. It was Ironjawz versus Heathen Knights of Slaanesh.
Yep.
And so it showed off the Ironjawz. And I said Ironjawz, but because this is now Orruk.
It's true.
Warclans. So you can play as Ironjawz, Bonesplitterz, or you can combine them and do the Big Waaagh. So basically, yeah, it gives you 3 armies or 3 play styles, however you want to look at it. And so I do play a lot of Ironjawz, but neither of us really have any experience with Bonesplitterz or Bonesplitterz.
Splitterz.
And so we'll talk a bit about their allegiance abilities and things, but we're not going to be able to be like, oh, this is way better than the way it was before, because we just haven't played them. They've never really been that interesting. We don't have a big collection of them.
That's actually very true, yeah.
Yeah, and we don't get guests coming in playing them either. So I've used them in some narrative campaigns, found them very lackluster.
Previously, they were very much one play style. You need to have like 150 models and you do one thing. It was very one-dimensional, one boring.
Yeah, they don't really have any good monsters.
Right.
They don't really have any, I don't know, everything's kind of fast but weak. But they're not even like a
low save type deal.
But they don't even hit very hard either.
Right.
So it's just like, what was their point? I think
they were just taught the ton of dice army. They were the ton of dice army.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all we really know. So just kind of take that into consideration. We'll try to give you an overview of what's in this book, but at the same time, it's going to be limited by our experiences as well.
And there's a lot in here too, though. We should point that out. Like even the Bonesplitterz, without knowing a whole lot about them, they look interesting.
They do. I actually think they look interesting now.
Yeah.
So there's a little spoiler right there. All right. So right after this, you can go and watch the Ironjawz versus Heathen Knights of Slaanesh. The link below at the MiniWarGaming Vault. If you're not a Vault member, you can check it out for free for 7 days by clicking that link and get instant access to thousands of battle reports, painting tutorials, behind the scenes, narrative campaigns. The MiniWarGaming Vault is what keeps us in business. So thank you if you are already a Vault member. And at the same time, there is another review, first impression, for the Cities of Sigmar that Luca is doing. And then you can watch his battle report in the Vault as well, which is the Cities of Sigmar versus Idoneth Deep with Ben. Yep. So that's all out today. So enjoy.
Lots.
So let's just dive right into it. I'm going to start by talking about Ironjawz.
Mm-hmm.
From the point of view of somebody who's played a bunch of Ironjawz. And I'm actually excited to get this book because I'm currently in the middle of filming an Age of Sigmar narrative campaign, which will probably go out in about a week from now, at most 2 weeks. And we've already started filming it, but I always intended for Hamathroa, if you watched our previous Age of Sigmar narrative campaigns, to be returning. And so Luke has been fighting other stuff as the Ironjawz have been arriving. And now that we got the book, I'm going to be playing them in that with all this Allegiance stuff. So it'll be a lot of fun.
It's going to be good.
So really quickly, the differences between the old Ironjawz. So I guess we should make this clear. In this book, once again, I'll say it before, I'll say it again. You can play there's 3 different armies in this book. So it's kind of like the Legions in the Gash book, where there's different legions, except that these ones don't really mix and match until the 3rd one. So you can play as Ironjawz, which is just Ironjawz and nothing else. They can ally with Bonesplitterz and Gloomspite Gits. They're not glittery. You have Bonesplitterz, or Bonesplitterz, who can ally with Ironjawz and Gloomspite Gits. And then there's the Big Waaagh, which allows you to bring any Orruks. Anything with the Orruk keyword. So that technically can bring in all those other Orc models that are not Bonesplitterz and Ironjawz.
That still have, I'm assuming we all play match play, that still have points in General's Handbook.
Yeah, if they have points in General's Handbook, then you can do that. So if you want to talk about us not knowing what Bonesplitterz are, because we've played at least a bit of Bonesplitterz, I definitely have not touched any of the original Orruks from the Orcs and Goblins from Warhammer Fantasy.
Other than in campaigns in small numbers. We've done
Very
something like
small
that.
numbers. So
Did you mention that the Big Waaagh can ally with Gloomspite Gits?
Oh, and Big Waaagh can ally with Gloomspite Glitz.
Glitz.
They're all the Glitz. So first, Ironjawz, talking about them. If you are familiar with their old Allegiance abilities, they have changed a little bit. They used to be able to get +1 to charge. Still have that.
Nice.
They used to have it so that if you killed an enemy unit in combat, you could pick another Ironjawz unit that hadn't fought and fight with them immediately. They still have that. They got a new ability called Mad as Hell. Yeah,
it's mad as heck.
Games Workshop making me swear. At the end of any phase, if an Ironjawz unit takes any wounds or mortal wounds, and they're more than 9 inches from enemies, they can move d6 inches in any direction. But I think the intent is that they move towards, but at the same time. So you want to do an Arcane Bolt or some other mortal wound dealing spell in the hero phase. Well, at the end of the hero phase, they get to move d6 inches. You want to shoot them like some coward, then they get to move closer to you.
I found it quite good actually in the combat phase. I got hit first. I finished them off. Nothing within 9 of me. I took damage. I moved my d6.
Oh yeah.
I got to new objective.
Yeah, that's basically a free consolidate if there's no enemies nearby. I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah.
Because I can see that the lore behind it is that because it says nothing infuriates the Ironjawz more than cowardly foes that attack them from afar. But then it says at the end of any phase.
Yep.
Because you're right, in the combat phase you deal any wounds to them and then they kill you and there's no other enemies nearby, they can move d6 inches. So that's really cool.
I'm gonna use that to remind my opponent when they start doing their picks. Oh, that guy, they're gonna die anyway. You wanna do some damage to me first?
So I can move d6 inches.
It's gonna get in their head. I love stuff like that.
They still have their Mighty Destroyer's command ability that lets you, for a command point, move or attack or charge. Now, the Mega Boss and the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, they both had a Waaagh. There's a Waaagh on the Mega Boss and the Mighty Waaagh on the Mega Boss and Maw Crusher. They've moved those out of those, and they've made it a general command ability, but it can only be used by a Mega Boss who is your general. And that acts very different. The way it worked before is that in your hero phase, which was always annoying, you had to use it, but you didn't actually do anything until your combat phase after that, at which point you counted up the number of Ironjawz units within 10 inches of a Mega Boss, 15 inches of Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Then you roll a die. If you get equal to or less than the number of units that are nearby, so if there was 5 units, you have to roll 5 or less, 3 units, 3 or less, then they all get +1 attack for that combat phase. If there's at least 6 units and you had rolled a 6, they get +2 attacks instead, which rarely happened. And the Waaagh and the Mighty Waaagh could stack. Now they've both made it better and worse because now you can only use it once per game.
Sure.
But
I think
that's the worst part.
Okay. That's the worst part.
That's the worst part.
It's better.
And you use it at the beginning of the combat phase, better, because now you don't have to guess. Like
of a combat phase, right?
Yeah, it could the combat phase, so it could be your opponents.
Big deal there.
And then it's a wholly within 18, so that's not better or worse.
I like those though.
Yeah, because it was 10 inches or 15 inches. Now it's wholly within 18. That's roughly the same distance. And what you do is you roll a die and add the number of units. If it gets to 12 or higher, they get +2 attacks. Otherwise, they all get +1 attack. So that's better as well because you're guaranteed the +1 attack. You don't have to roll. Because if there's only 3 of them, for example, you can give them all +1 attack. You don't have to worry about not getting it. And if there's at least 6 of them, then you'd have to roll a 6 to get +2 attacks, just like before. But if there's 7, it's a 5+. If there's 8, it's a 4+.
Even with just a +1 attack per model, with all the other buffs that are in this book,
which we'll get to.
It's actually
kind of ridiculous.
Okay, before the ability was okay, whatever gets extra attacks. Now it's really good. It's really good.
It was already good. The Waaagh previously was a huge thing, but the problem with the Waaagh before is that you had to declare it in your hero phase. And then if you had to make sure there was at least 6 units, otherwise you were taking a chance that you just wasted it.
The defensive capabilities of it now. I'll use it for the attack, but I'll use it on my opponent's turn. Like the versatility of it is just so much better.
Yes. And being able to do it more than once per battle would be nice, but it is so powerful that I can see why they limit it.
Yeah, but the Waaagh has always been a once per game type thing.
Yes.
In previous things, right? Let's bring it back to the
problem. In 40K, in the older editions, it was like you did a Waaagh and everybody got to run a charge.
Now it feels like I can ask my opponent to actually scream the Waaagh. It's special again.
Right. Yeah, exactly, because it feels like you're doing something. I just for the record, I usually would anyways.
Would you make them?
Yeah, because I would say, he's about to, and then I'd yell it.
Vito tried to make me Waaagh.
Yeah. So just really quickly going through command traits. The command traits... we actually added some new ones for the Weird Knob Shaman, which is cool. I'm not going to read every single one of them. So there's 3 new command traits for if the Shaman is your general. But the command traits for the Mega Boss, and it's Mega Boss only now, because it used to be that these could be put on anything, but usually you put on your Mega Boss. They almost all got better
Well, there's one little frustrating combo. It's the Ironclad.
Ironclad giving +1 save.
And then going with one of the yeah, you get it already, right?
Oh,
going
no.
with one of the so there are clans as well. We'll get to.
No, you couldn't get that. You couldn't get that command trait with a clan because you have to take their command trait. Yeah, you can only have one command trait. So just like a lot of the factions have subfactions.
That's a good point.
Like Stormcast Eternals have storm hosts. The Fire Slayers have lodges, all that kind of stuff. They have clans or whatever you want to call them.
Okay.
And so yeah, they don't. You can't mix command traits if you're bringing a clan. So is that the one?
Forget that one.
But you could stay there from that one realm. Isn't there a realm that says ignore rend? That they the ethereal amulet.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, you're gonna see some Ironjawz. Well, we'll get to that. We'll talk about this more when we get here.
There's a lot of really good.
Having a 2-up armor save, ignoring all rend. No. That relic is ignore modifier, so this wouldn't work. This is a modifier.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Good. But you can still find a relic that like ignore the first level of rend or something. So essentially, because that was always my frustration with Tree Lord Ancients. You had like give them the +1 save, and then you gave them the ignore rend, or at least ignore one level of rend, and became a 2-up save that was really hard. And then they had their own ability to reroll ones with that was their command ability. So it was kind of silly. You had to mortal wound them to death basically. That was the only way, but they had a lot of wounds.
But even though you have that 2-up armor save in a big model, however, with my limited experience, I played one game.
Right.
I think, as good as that sounds, I'd rather try to grab command point.
There are some other really good command traits, and I think that's the balancing factor here. Is like, yes, the +1 save is really good,
so good.
And probably
On a
I'm not a fan of that.
model.
It used to be reroll ones, and they changed it to +1, and I don't like that because I hate 2+ saves in Age of Sigmar. I think 3+ is a representative of something that's incredibly hard to kill. I like the fact that in Age of Sigmar, saves are generally worse than they are in Warhammer 40k.
Things die faster.
Because I like things dying. Like when you see somebody with a 4-up save, you're like, oh wow, that
yeah.
Really
This
armor.
game stacks the attack, not the defense.
Yes. Now there's some places where I kind of get frustrated that that's not the case. Like Gloomspike gets with their stabbas, with running around their shields with a 5-up save, their banner which makes it a 4-up save against shooting. I'm like, they have no right having that. But whatever. I wish it would be like more like the skeletons where it was only a +1 if it was Ren 0 or something. So, but there are way. See, here's the thing. Like, would you rather have +1 save, or would you rather take Bestial Charisma, where once per battle round he can do Inspiring Presence without spending a command point, or would you rather once per battle round the general can use Mighty Destroyers without spending a command point?
I would never use either of those ever.
Really?
Ever.
Well, because you'd always take Iron Suns.
No. Maybe, but I'm going to bring a shaman. I'd rather just take that.
At the start of your first battle round, you receive D3 additional command points, but then you can never wall. Your mega boss has to be the general in order to wall.
So in my game,
oh no! Did you do it wrong?
I wad, and I had.
Did your shaman was your shaman your general?
Nope, it wasn't.
No, because you did Iron Suns.
I said it was, but it didn't have to be.
No, because your Iron Suns, you gave a command trait to a mega boss, didn't you?
I gave the command trait. I gave that command trait to the. I gave it to the shaman.
Okay.
But it goes in the mega.
Wrong.
I said it wrong.
But you could have.
In play was correct.
Yeah, so you did it wrong. But did you ever use other command abilities that have longer range from general, like Inspiring Presence?
No, not once.
Rerolls?
Not once. No.
Okay. So it doesn't affect the game.
Well, because what I tried to do was the same mistake I almost made a second ago. Was I tried to take this command trait on my.
He knows an extra spell.
Oh no! So this one here, +1 to casting and binding, and then this is relic, and then I try to play Iron Suns, but then I realized before the game started I can't take this command trait because I have to have that command trait.
Right. It's always a disadvantage of playing a clan. Even it gives you all sorts of other abilities, but then it takes away your ability to take a good command.
So I'm just pointing to a page. You just can't follow along. Everything was good in the backup, I think, but yeah, I had a lot hit on me.
That is a mistake.
I said it wrong.
No,
but that's easy to fix.
You said the Weird Knob Shaman was the general, and that is a mistake because you couldn't wall.
The big boss was the general.
Yep.
Nah, he was.
We'll see what happens in the comments. But hopefully you're watching this first before you go and watch that. In the end, it doesn't affect his game.
The outcome is unaffected.
Honestly, the general can use Mighty Destroyers without spending a command point is enormous.
Yes.
Because when I play, I try to get 4 command points to start by bringing what I did before in the old one. Those clans that you saw, those were battalions before.
Yeah.
And so you had to pay points for them, but you got an extra command point. And so I bring the battalion. It has a battalion inside of it. So I'd start with 3 command points. And then, how did I generate the 4th? Maybe I just had 3, because it was usually turn 2 that I would do the walls and stuff. But But I found that I had 4 command points by turn 2, and boom, they're gone.
I started my game with 4, and then
you just burn them. They are so hungry for their command points. And so it does make you want to take the Weird Knob Shaman, who can start the game with D3 additional command points. And then his...
Now I'm not sure, because you're right, I want that Waaagh. Let's find another way to get a Waaagh in here.
You want the... Yeah, well, there are other ways. There's the one battalion that lets them use the Waaagh.
Yeah.
So maybe there's your answer. But the thing that once per battle round, like, I don't think I'd ever take the where you can do Inspiring Presence for free over Mighty Destroyers for free. But they're both really good. And you have to realize that, that plus save would be good. But Ironjawz, like a lot of armies, love their synergies. Mm-hmm. And so, especially once we start getting to the other stuff that you have in the Ironjawz, you'll see just how they kind of come together. Yeah. We could talk forever about this. You can give them the Mighty Waaagh stratagem, which makes a 24-inch Waaagh instead of 18. I don't think I'd ever do that. The Live to Fight, there was one that we could, if you charge, you rerolled wound rolls for your commander or for your general. Now it applies to his mount as well. Which is, whatever. If you're rolling random.
Well, weirdly enough, okay, so before this book comes out, these are all great abilities because the army was very much solo good unit or whatever, right?
Right.
Now there's so much synergy with other things. You don't want it. Well, you could. You don't necessarily want just the big mock crusher doing all the work because everything else is new work for you now.
Exactly. If there was like a clan where you could bring an extra command trait, maybe. But and the artifacts mostly stayed the same for the Mega Boss, and then we got 3 new ones for the Weird Knob Shaman. Cool. Additional 2 new things, though, is that the mounts now have traits.
Kind of expected, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of a normal thing to see in other armies, right? Everything from +1 wound, +2 move, to +1 damage on the mount. Now you have to realize...
No, for just the Mighty Fist and Tail.
Yeah, on the mount. That's the mount. That's all the mount has.
That's it? Doesn't he have...
He has Mighty Fist and Tail, which used to be 2 different profiles, and now they've merged them
into
one. But they also drop the damage from 3 to 2, but there's more attacks. So getting him +1 damage on that, holy cow, 8 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 or -2, 3 damage, holy cow. Now there's also one that gives +1 destructive bulk. So if you remember in Maw Crushers when they charge, they roll normally 8 dice, each 4+ is a mortal wound. They've nerfed that. It's now 9 dice, but it's on 5s. And so if you take the destructive bulk thing, it just makes it back to what it was before. Which I don't think I'd ever take that.
Not for me.
I'd prefer... I don't know. It's a pretty good one.
I'd rather have the +2 move or +1 damage.
They already move really far. +1 damage is definitely a contender for me. The other cool thing is our Warchanters are turning more into priests.
They're now so have good.
Warchants.
If you don't have 3, pause the video, go buy 3 right now.
Holy cow. War beats. Sorry, they're called war beats.
Yeah, war beats.
They work just like priestly invocations and from Fire Slayers and Khorne and Stormcast Eternals.
Yeah, they're used different. They're, like one's using the combat phase, one's using the
but same idea where you basically have to roll to see if they were inspired by your deck. You're doing a performance check. You thought performance checks were useless,
50-50.
No, they're awesome.
One will heal.
Imagine if a bard had to do a performance check to do the inspiring thing.
Oh.
Everybody would take double performance.
Right? Exactly. Okay. Yeah, one will heal you, one will allow you to charge a little bit better, and I think one adds 1 to hit rolls. Actually, is really good.
And remember, these are all free. Yep. He just chooses one, and he can do it. But you remember, it's the kind of the same thing as priests, that more than one priest can't do the same one.
Right.
We've also got the spells. Pretty much all got better.
Only one really worth talking about, I think.
No.
You think there's more than one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but
what's the one that you like?
Basham Lads really just pulls away from the pack.
It is awesome. Basham Lads used to be a 12-inch bubble of reroll wounds, which was always really good.
That wasn't bad. And now it's a 16-inch bubble of add 1 to wound. That's really, really, really good.
That is really good.
Really good. Now, it is an 8 to cast, so it's up there, but there's a couple ways of getting modifiers to casting and dispelling.
Yeah. Basically, Brain Bursta, Mighty Edbutt, the Blazing Eyes, Wrath of Gork, all do more mortal wounds now than they did before. Like a lot more. So they are contenders because they can put out a lot of mortal wounds. And the other one that's a big contender is the Great Big Green Hand of Gork, because it allows you to teleport a unit. So this is where you might want to...
Maybe.
Well, you can have more than one shaman. So.
I don't have the points. All my points are on Warchanters.
You don't have to bring 3 Warchanters.
I have to bring 4, or sorry, my 6, because...
Well, see, I'm excited because I'm the kind of player, this is not a dig at Steve, who doesn't like to do the same thing twice. So I'm like, cool, 3 Warchanters is really good. Now, what about 3 shamans?
3 Warchanters.
Yeah, see, whatever. I'll probably always bring a Warchanta.
You can't not, right? Could you ever? Now would you ever make a list without bringing one? There's no way. It'd be foolish.
Yes, I would. Just because I would get tired of how good they are.
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair point.
I enjoy variety, so I'm like, yep, that's really good. Moving on. There might be if the army is weak, then I'll bring the strong stuff just to make up for this weakness. But if I ever find things are really too strong, then I just like, okay, that was fun. If my opponent's going to bring a hard list, I'll bring them.
Okay, so there's a lot of buffs in this book. I think the for the Ironjawz part of this book, the Warchanter is really necessary to. I'm going to make up some fake power levels.
Okay, hold on. The Warchanter used to choose a unit in the hero phase within 10 inches and give it +1 to hit, which was already really good. And it was just for the following combat phase. Now he gives him +1 damage until the following hero phase. +1 damage.
No roll, you just pick a unit.
That's basically for Ard Boys, which we're going to show have actually been improved, doubles their damage output.
Yes.
And with all the other buffs you can give them, heck, with no other buffs, that is ridiculous. It makes them actually better than the Mega Boss, which they were always not the case.
So I suspect, with my limited experience with this book, that the Ironjawz, just the Ironjawz part of this book, is okay. They're not going to be nobody's going to call them cheesy. They're not going to be amazing if you don't bring the Warchanter.
Yeah. I think what you can easily get with Ironjawz is that most of the games will be two-turn games, because either they'll have they'll either have pulled off their super combos or they'll have died trying. It's one of those, right?
Okay, all right. So Ironjawz.
They'll be in what's that?
So Ironjawz.
Yeah, exactly. Because they just get in your face really quick, and they're not like super fast, but they have ways to speed them up. But yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of other stuff we could talk about. There are 3 clans. 2 of them, Iron Suns and Bloodtooths, used to be battalions. So now you can just take them for free. There's a cost though, and the cost is you have to take the command trait that they force you to.
The relic they force you to.
And the first relic they force you to. The relic for the Iron Suns is fine, ignoring the first level of Rend. But their command trait is fine too, get an extra command point. But if I went and got Mighty Destroyers for free, that's like 3 or 4 extra command points, because you're going to use that once per turn. And so if you play 5 turns, you're going to get 5 extra command points. The Bloodtooth's command trait is utterly awful.
You're getting the information incorrectly. The one bill you talked about gives it once per game.
What?
Mighty.
Once per battle round. Once per battle round, they can do Mighty Destroyers without spending a command point.
I read once per game. Are you serious?
It's once per battle round.
No, you're taking it every time.
Exactly. Well, you notice how I put asterisks way better.
Wow. Well, no, that's unfortunate.
Because you're just never going to want to take.
You're never going to want to.
But once again, a person enjoying variety.
No.
Will anyway.
Sure. There's making other lists, but I don't want to be like, oh, well, I guess I'll take this. Obviously, I like when everything's kind of good, right? Internal balance. That's unfortunate because you're always going to want to take that.
Yes, but the Iron Suns also get -1 to hit them in the first round of first round against everything.
That's so good.
And so, is that better than being able to do Mighty Destroyer for free? Because remember, you already get 1 command point, so that's basically like you can do Mighty Destroyer for free once.
Maybe.
And so most games are going to be like 3 turns. So really, you're losing 2 command points in exchange for -1 to hit. Oh, and by the way, you get a command ability where you can have somebody charge.
So from the power gaming standpoint, I think this is better.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your internal balance.
Do we actually explain that? So Iron Suns, their ability is the first battle round. There's -1 to hit.
Yeah.
So if you want to just run whole army forward, and without giving spoilers for the game in the vault right now, I played Iron Suns. I got to choose who goes first, and first thing I do is decide. I weigh my options. Like, you know what? I'm just going to go first. I'm going to run as far up I can onto the objectives and see if this keeps me alive.
Yeah. You have to watch the battle report to see if it does. But spoiler alert, it definitely helps.
Yes.
So the Bloodtooths one kind of frustrates me because they have a super cool ability, which is +1 run and charge. And this is in addition to their regular +1 charge. But their command trait is that if there's a Baleful Realm Gate on the table, they get +2 for their Waaagh. First off, +2 to Waaagh, great, that's garbage. But second off, you basically have to convince your opponent, hey, can I put a Baleful Realm Gate on the table just so I can actually use my command trait?
I would put one on the table for my opponent every time.
Yeah, better.
But I mean, I don't want an ability.
+2 to Waaagh? So you might get an extra attack by getting that.
Also, that +2 is really good though.
But it's just once on the wall.
I know. I'd put the gate on for him, but I think, that should have been.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like the Bloodtooths. They introduced a new one, the Chappas. They're an interesting one. If they're within 12 inches of terrain, they get to reroll charge rolls. Well, that's the way I play. That's always.
Yep.
That's not me trying to cheat. I just like terrain. And honestly, when are you not, even if you're not a lot of terrain on the table, how can you not be within 12 inches? Not wholly within, just within 12 inches of a terrain feature. Could you build a table with just 5 pieces of terrain and then find a spot where you could not be within 12 inches of one of them?
Not everybody plays the way we do.
No. I just said 5 pieces of terrain.
5?
Because that's your tournament, right? Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sure.
Could you find a spot where you're not within 12 inches?
Yes.
You wait at the back, in the middle?
Maybe right here? Like you got a piece here?
Right there. There's a piece of terrain right there.
What if you're a single model?
All right, maybe.
Yeah.
But still, you're almost always getting... So that's awesome is what I'm trying to say, is that you're pretty much always re-rolling charges.
This one is... I love that mine's one to hit, but this one's also tempting.
Yeah, because your command trait is +2 bravery when they're wholly within 18 of the general.
Sure,
That's
whatever.
Great, cool. But the artifact of power. See, I think this one is meant to be a weird knob shaman.
Yep.
Because the artifact of power is the bearer counts as being a mega boss.
So I can get that.
So you can make your general mega boss. And I think it even says in their fluff that it's all about the shamans.
Well, they're raiders. Yeah.
Yeah, and their command ability. Oh, and their command abilities in Warchanter gets to do 3. They get to give it to 3 different things rather than 1. So you don't need to bring 3 anymore, Steve. Just bring 1.
Now you do 5 units.
So much. So Chop is really cool.
Yeah.
So I know we spent a lot of time on them. So
Okay.
And we'll spend an equally smaller amount of time on Bonesplitterz.
They're interesting now.
That's not my problem. The problem is I don't know how excited to get about it because
Okay, so
I don't know. I haven't played them enough to be able to say.
So if we say, hey, that's really cool and new, and it's not new, we're sorry. But I mean, having a Waaagh.
So they get the Waaagh as well. The same thing, except it can be anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be the general, and it doesn't have to be a boss. It could be. It doesn't matter who your general is. Anybody can do the Waaagh, but it works exactly the same way.
Tireless Trackers is a new ability they have. I think it's half their units. Half the units rounding up can move 5 inches before the game starts for the first battle round. Good new ability. It'll help you get on a couple objectives a little bit faster.
Yeah.
That's cool. And they like fighting monsters or having monsters in your opponent's list. They got some special rules.
Specifically against those monsters.
I know all these things here you're talking about.
Yeah. If they're within 3 inches of a monster, they can get +1. They can choose to get +1 to hit against it, or do mortal wounds against it, or the
pile
one
in more.
Is they could pile in 6 inches instead of 3, which it might be important sometimes. You'd have to kind of see the situation and pick the best one. They have an army-wide ignoring wounds on a 6+. It used to be that I do know this, that they used to have a 6-up save that you couldn't modify in the negative. So if somebody hit you with a rand, you're like, whatever, I still got my 6-up. It was essentially a 6-up ignoring wounds. And now they have a 6-up ignoring wounds, and they have their 6-up. So, slightly better?
I could be mistaken. So I think at the very beginning of Age of Sigmar, that's what they had.
Did they have 6-up
Because it did change at one point.
Yeah. And then they have their command traits. Their wizards got new command traits. They got artifacts. Their wizards got new artifacts. The lore of the Savage Beast, I have no idea if this existed before. So we're not going to go over that.
I just think this line needs some more models.
I also don't find myself really attracted to their models either. There's something about them that's just it's just off about them. I'm not sure what it is, but when I see them on the table, they just feel lackluster as a model themselves too.
Well, there's
I don't know
not
what
enough character.
Or maybe there's just not enough stuff on them. You know, they walk around. I don't know. I don't know what it is because ours are painted well. They're painted well enough. Whenever I put them on the table, they're just like, maybe it's because they had bad rules and that has affected how I view them. But I don't.
It's not a lot of character.
I look at them. I don't see anything very interesting.
Yeah.
But having said that, there might be some enormously awesome combo in here. And you guys, of course, if once you get the book and you see it for yourselves, if you want to try to point one of those out, we'd love to take a look at that. I think I do. It does make me, honestly, having rules for them, it does make me want to build up our Bonesplitterz army.
For sure.
Just so I can have some variety as well.
Drackfoot, right? Like I've been saying for years, I want to play Clan Drackfoot.
Why? What do they do?
Okay, so what are the Bonesplitterz clan?
Right. You've always wanted to ignore.
I hate Ethereal. They have a clan that just ignores the Ethereal special rule. Hey, Night Hunt.
So Night Hunt, Ethereal special rule is you can't modify their saves, positive or negative. So they basically get 4 up saves, sometimes 5 up, and that you can't modify. But these guys, for some reason,
wait a minute.
They're zealous self-belief. Do they have any?
Wait a minute.
Do they have any rends? They ignore that.
Wait a minute.
Oh, and in addition, any ability that negates wounds has no effect on wounds that they inflict. So if you have a rule that ignores wounds, they ignore your wounds rule.
The big boss has a rend.
Oh, you're looking through and realize that nobody has rends.
And the big stabbers have a rend.
That's it.
That's it.
Is there a command ability that gives +1 rend or something?
I don't know.
Nope, not there.
Do the boars on the charge have a?
No, they get +1 to hit and to wound.
All right, never mind. I never really wanted to play Blackfoot.
Only when we play Nighthawk, just so you could say, "Oh, that ethereal rule." I ignore it.
I ignore that.
They just, totally freak them out. Like, what? That's so overpowered. Yeah, okay. I just did 20 wounds. What's the rend? Nothing.
Yeah. Oh.
Before up.
Their command trait is kind of cool. Instead of a command trait, all their shamans get fireball from like Laura Fire instead of, I think it's instead of Arcane Bolt. Is that correct? Yeah, instead of Arcane Bolt. Kind of cool.
All of their wizards know it.
Yep.
Also, they don't get a command trait. They all get it. Cast ability 5.
It's the fireball
instead of Arcane Bolt.
Yeah. Kind of cool. The other Icebone.
I see. It does more mortal wounds the more models they have.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not overly interesting.
So let's talk about the Big Waaagh, because this is the Big Waaagh is the thing that should have got us excited for this book. I am confused by it. I don't mean I don't understand it. I just mean I'm trying to figure out how it's going to play. I will try it out. Like even if I just bring pure Ironjawz, I will try out the Big Waaagh allegiance ability because I like to try out different things. It's got a new mechanic that I would compare to Power from Pain or to summoning points, except we don't summon with them. Oh, almost like Blood Tithe points, kind of, except you don't get them from killing stuff necessarily. So essentially, there's a bunch of different ways that you get these Waaagh points. They call them Waaagh points, just because, we love saying Waaagh. For example, you just get D6 for your general being on the battlefield. If he's Gordrak, it's 6 automatically. Each Warchanter gives you 2 in each hero of your hero phases, so another reason to bring 3.
Yep.
Two's you get 1 for each Prophet and Wardock that's on the battlefield. You get 1 for each Orruk unit with 10 or more models that charges. You get 1 for each hero that's within an enemy unit, within 3 inches of enemy unit in the combat phase. And you get 1 at the start of the combat phase for each Orruk unit that's within 10 or more models within 3 inches. So you basically get it for charging, for getting in close, and for having your general, Warchanters, and Prophets and Wardocks in the field. The maximum is 30. And basically there's a chart that tells you what happens as you get to more and more of them. And they're all cumulative, so you get all the previous benefits as well. So the first few, though, are just the Ironjawz abilities. Like once you get 4, it has the whole, if they take wounds, they move d6 inches. Once you get to 6, there's a Waaagh magic ability trait, which just lets you spend some of the Waaagh points to get pluses to your casting. Once you get 8, you're +1 charge. So, once again, the Ironjawz already get that. Once you get to 12, you ignore wounds on a 6. That's our Bonesplitterz ability. So it's like they're kind of combining the two, but you have to build up the Waaagh energy for it. Once you get to 16, it starts getting interesting. Everybody gets +1 to hit for their melee weapons. Yeah. But you have to be at 16. I just don't know how fast I can get there.
Well, you're going to have Gordrak, and you're going to have 3 Warchanters. You're getting 12. You're getting there on turn 2.
Yeah, I guess.
You fill us up on turn 2.
That's true. So basically, this is designed for Gordrak and bringing Warchanters or Prophets or Wardocks.
Well, the Warchanters, because the Prophets aren't.
They don't get as many, but
and they're not even that whereas the Warchanters are doing something for you, right? You're filling this chart on turn 2.
So maybe this is really good then if you do that specifically, because once you get to 20, you're +1 wound rolls. So you're going to be +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and then at 24, they can use the Big Waaagh command ability.
It's a new thing. So I want to point out though, I'm pointing this out from like the power gaming standpoint. I'm not trying to be like a friendly game or whatever here. But when people can do something, they will do something. So expect to see this. So on turn 2, you're gonna have all of this.
Right. In a more competitive setting, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely gonna try it for more than one thing. My first try, I'll probably do that. My first try.
I would
do the best thing.
I would like to see because after you spend that many points on Warchanters and Gordrak, you have enough units to actually get work done. Maybe not, probably.
Yeah, you could just fill it up with Ardboys and Brutes and Gorgruntas, pretty much all of which have gotten better.
Is there any way to lose these?
Yes, if you can spend them on your Waaagh magic. So basically, you can get +1 to cast. You reduce it by D3 to get +1 to cast, or D6 to get +2 to cast. And you can also, if you use the Big Waaagh ability, which is at 24, if you have 24 points, everybody gets +1 attacks. Period. So this is in addition to using the. Oh yeah, we don't have the Waaagh ability here. Yeah. Yeah, there's no Waaagh.
Okay.
That battle trait is in the other ones.
Ironjawz one, right? For allegiance.
So theirs is a little different. So if you're at 24, at least 24 points, you can do the Big Waaagh, which is like Waaagh, gets +1 attacks, but you don't have to roll and you don't get +2. But then after that, you roll a die. On a 1, you lose all of your Waaagh points. You go back to 0. On a 2 to a 5, you lose half of them, and on a 6, nothing happens. So you're gonna most likely spend. Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to get.
Well, you can't use those command traits.
Why not?
Because this is. Oh yeah, you could.
You could. Yeah.
You might be able to use it by bringing in like certain of the warscroll battalions.
True.
But as a rule, the Big Waaagh does.
Oh man, this is more interesting than I thought it was.
I don't think I'd ever risk using the Big Waaagh because you could lose all your Waaagh points.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe when you're like, you know what?
I got you now. This game's all but over.
Boom. Okay, we.
Even I would give you a good wall on that one.
Yes, exactly. So it's interesting. So yeah, if your army has an Ironjawz general, you can give them an Ironjawz command trait. If it's Bonesplitterz, you can give them Bonesplitterz command trait. That's why, because I don't think if you brought Big Waaagh, I don't think you can assume you can take command traits that were from Ironjawz.
No. These are I'm going by.
I know they say Mega Boss only, but they are Ironjawz mount traits. Ironjawz.
Yeah, because they have the Ironjawz keyword, right? Not Ironjawz allegiance.
But I think it might also be because there's under the allegiance. Because why would they make a rule that says you can bring one?
Well, it
says artifacts. It says Ironjawz heroes can take Ironjawz artifacts. Bonesplitterz can take it. A mount can take the Ironjawz mount thing. The Warchanter can. So they specify that you can. So you're right, they can, but not for the reason you think so. You're right because they actually say
being right's being right.
Yeah.
Hey, good point though. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't assume that because Ironjawz is both a keyword and an allegiance ability.
Well, it's also the first time we've seen a book in this kind of layout. We've seen a similar one in the Beasts of Chaos, but not disjointed, but connected.
If you look at the legions in Nagash, they each have their own command.
Oh, that's
traits,
true. It would be similar.
And you're not allowed to use the other command.
That's
traits
true. We have seen
spells.
this one before.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So this one just says you can use this. Go ahead. Cool. So I want to try that.
Man.
The +1 hit and +1 wound, and by the time you're up to there, you basically have the Ironjawz allegiance abilities of the plus charge and the moving closer, but everybody gets to use it. You've got the 6-up ignoring wounds of the Bonesplitterz, and now everybody's +1 hit, +1 wound. That's pretty good.
It might be too good, sir.
Maybe where this lackluster thing that we're talking about is actually game breaking. No idea. I'm not going to go.
Yeah, it's way too early to say.
Yeah, because you can't just look at one thing. You got to look at everything, right? So.
But if you get that little in your stomach, I'm like, oh, maybe that's really. It's so good. Come on.
So with our remaining time, oh man, we've already talked a lot. Of course we have. We could talk forever about this. We're not going to get through everything, and we are going to mostly focus on Ironjawz for the reasons at the beginning. So let's talk about the war scrolls, not the battalions yet, but the actual stuff.
You know what? There's a lot to take in. I was making this game, right?
Did you make another mistake?
No.
Okay.
There's a lot to take in, so I tried to keep things really simple. I looked at the models we had. I'm like, okay, it's going to be easier to make a Ironjawz list than a Bonesplitterz list.
Yeah, easy.
I know I'm playing 2,000 points. I need to bring 3 battle line. I'm going to pick one of the clans, but I want to try this relic. So I'm like, okay, where am I get my battle line? I went, okay, I don't have, this one. So I just picked one that had 3 battle line. I chose Iron Fist, and I think it's going to be, I want to say auto include, but I'm going to say auto include. So you got a battalion here that gives you a 3 battle line. You pick one of the, what do they call bosses? Yeah, one of the bosses, and give them +2 wounds, and they're basically in charge of that battalion. But that boss can now use the Mighty Destroyer's command trait once per turn or hero phase without spending a command point.
Without spending a command point.
So in the game...
So also give that other command trait to your Mega Boss. That lets him use it once per hero phase without spending a command trait, and now you can do it twice.
Yes.
For free.
Every phase, apparently. which is your move,
Not every
right?
phase, not every phase.
Well, every turn,
hero-
every
your
turn,
hero phase.
every turn, every game player turn. But okay, so I just chose that one with the thought I would take a big blob of brutes, put them off on one of my fights. I don't even know what the scenario is yet, and they'll be able to play off on their own. Yeah, resilient, a lot of attacks, and now they're gonna be mobile enough to get them where I need
Yeah,
to
now
be
they can just
without.
cast Mighty Destroyer themselves.
Yeah,
Right?
and turns out that's exactly what they do. So without looking,
The other ones are good too, though.
is that the best one? You have more experience
It's hard to say
because this army is starved for command points, even though it has a lot.
Yes. Well, I know there's a couple that I didn't like.
Which
So,
one didn't you like?
I didn't like the Ardfist. The Ardfist basically used to be one where you brought a
Yeah.
Warchanter and Ardboys, and when an Ardboys unit died, you could bring it back on your side. Now it's on a 4+, you only bring 10 of them back on your side. And I never liked that you brought it back on your side to begin with, so it wasn't that big a deal.
I actually like that one.
You like recycling guys?
I do. Like,
But it's just 10. You only get 10. So if you brought 20 of them, you'd only get 10.
Well, maybe I'd bring a squad. It's I
guess you could bring
know your
squads of
point,
5, and when they
but
die, then you bring 10.
I kind of like those. Though I didn't use it, I kind of like those things where you just control the table.
And once again, we'll try different things.
The
to show
brute
off.
fist, I don't care about in hindsight after playing
All right,
one
we'll
game.
talk about the Warscroll battalions.
Well,
See, I put a meh behind the Ardfist.
Did you put meh?
Yeah.
Why? See, here's the problem with this one.
Brute Fist is better than it
But
was
but
before?
you have to have brutes.
Brutes are great.
Sure,
What do you mean you have to have brutes?
our boys are just.
Ah,
That's the thing. We should probably talk about those.
yeah, see, that's just it. So the Brute Fist, same thing, 3 to 5 brute units. One of them becomes a boss, and he gets +2 wounds. It basically allows them every time they charge to do mortal wounds. Essentially, every model that gets in base contact, not base contact, within an inch, does on a 4+ does a mortal wound. That's all it does. So it's pretty cool. Would you rather have the Mighty Destroyer for
Well,
free?
but the thing is, you have to. I'm factoring in what I have to bring in the battalion,
Well,
right?
but 3 to 5 orcs or brutes could also be in your Iron Fist, because the Iron
Right.
Fist is 3 to 5 brutes, Gore Gruntas, Ardboys, any combination. The Gore Fist is still good, but it hasn't really changed.
I think I'd rather.
Basically, the Gore Fist was cool because it used to be that in your first hero phase, they'd all move 15 inches, and then they get to act normally. Now they just get to make a normal move, which is nice.
I think the Iron Fist will just supersede the Gore Fist one.
I know, unless you want to do something thematic. Like a
Yeah,
Gore Fist.
well, sure.
Yeah, that's just it, right? The Weird Fist hasn't gotten any better or worse, but it's still cool. So
I would have liked to have seen a group of characters. Unfortunately, we don't have that.
yeah, like a command squad kind of thing.
Yeah.
So let's go through these war scrolls, and then we'll call it a day. And we'll talk about points at the end too, just what's changed in points. I can give you a quick rundown of what's gotten more expensive and what's gotten less. So let's start with Gordrak. It's interesting. He's gotten better. I want to say he went down in points by 40 points, and yeah. Okay, I'll just say what's changed. So both the Maw Crusher, Mega Boss Maw Crusher, and Gordrak, their destructive bulk now is 5+ doing mortal wounds. It starts off at 9 dice instead of 8, but that's definitely a downgrade because your expected average is with 9.
I'll roll nothing but 5s
That'd be
anyway.
3, and whereas before your expected was 4. He has a new one with that too. That if there's a piece of terrain nearby, he also rolls it. If he rolls any 6s, you don't get cover from that terrain anymore. I think that's going to be very situational. His Smasha and Cunning got upgraded a bit, kind of. The Cunning got an extra rend, and now it used to be 6+ mortal wounds on heroes with Smasha, now it's 4+. But now the Smasher doesn't work against wizards, because it used to be, basically the one weapon was good against wizards, and the other one was good against heroes. But wizards are also heroes. So this one now specifies a hero that's not a wizard. But whatever, that's not a big deal. Because the bulk of the fighting with them is in the Mighty Fist and Tail of the Maw Crusher itself, which is kind of this. It's mathematically probably very similar. It used to be it had a profile for Mighty Fist and a profile for Tail, and the Tail was useless. It was just a random number of crap attacks. Now they've wrapped them into one, and they've made it more attacks. But the Mighty Fist used to be 2+, 3+. Now they're 3+, 3+. But it also used to be that basically it's 2+, 3+. I think that they used to actually downgrade with how much they got hurt. Now they just lose attacks. So it's only 3+, 3+. Instead of 3 damage, it's 2, but there's more attacks. So I think that's statistically it's about the same, but I like that it's all tidied up and in the same place.
Can you give a named character mount a mount trait?
Probably not, but I don't know the answer to that. I know you can't give them command traits and
Right.
artifacts, but probably not. One of the heroes can have a mount trait.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. I'd say that he got upgraded overall. I know we went down to 5-up Destructive Bulk. Oh, by the way, the command abilities of Gordrakk changed. And it's both better and worse. It used to be once per game, he could choose a unit and they got to charge 3d6 inches. And if they were part of a battalion, everybody got it. And so generally you'd bring him with some big battalion that was your entire army. And so then he'd be like, hey, everybody, you get to roll 3d6 with your charge.
Go.
Now he just chooses 3 units and they all get +1 to
3 destruction units.
3 destruction. Yeah, it was always destruction.
Oh, was it destruction?
Yeah, because he's the
right.
prophet of
Yeah.
Gorka Morcus, so he leads all of destruction. He chooses 3 destruction units; they get +1 to hit. And then it's not. I don't know if I'd say that's fine. It's good. It's consistent, which is nice, meaning that he doesn't just do it once per game, and he doesn't matter if you have a battalion or not. So you don't have to bring him and be like, okay, now I need to bring a battalion. Now you can bring him without a battalion, and he can still be useful. So I like that. So I would say that in a pure power gaming sense, it's a downgrade, but in a more fun sense, I like it. It's an upgrade for me. The Mega Boss on Maw Crusher had all those same changes. They simplified the weapons because they had 2 combinations like Gorhaka and Choppa, or Boss Choppa and Rip-Tooth Fist, and it had like a different profile for each of those weapons, and it was really annoying. And most of the time, you just didn't feel like you did anything.
Yeah, this and you have this, go.
And the Mega Boss on Foot felt more powerful than the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Not the Maw Crusher part, but just the Mega Boss part, which didn't make sense. Now they're basically the same. That like the Gorhaka and Choppa, for example, is just 8 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2, which is basically the same as the Mega Boss on Foot. If you have the Boss Choppa and Rip-Tooth Fist, then it's 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2, which is, you think, well, that's less attacks and it's less range. But the Rip-Tooth Fist basically says unmodified save rolls of 6, you deal mortal wound back to your opponent.
I'd rather have 2 more attacks. This game is about attacks, not defense.
I know, but at the same time, having just been playing against Khorne, where the units have all that, we went through the rules very carefully, and you have to make all of your attacks before you allocate any wounds.
Are you going to factor in Warchanters?
Do you get that +1 damage? Do you think you'll get +1 damage to the Mega Boss?
Yeah.
Instead of like...
I did in my game, and he was on foot.
The one on foot, yeah.
Because you'll find the squad that runs forward won't always be in range of that thing after turn 3 or whatever, right?
Right.
So my only option was to get to my Mega Boss. He was the only one in range.
I'm just saying, though, that if you have a model with the Rip-Tooth Fist, the whole unmodified 6s do mortal wounds back is a pretty big deal to a 15 wound model. Because if you usually are coming up to him and doing tons of attacks, and all of a sudden he's got all those mortal wounds, so that's dealing more damage back. So yeah, he's got 2 less attacks, but he can deal those damage back. I've just experienced it and seen how much damage it can do. And so I'm just saying that, I don't disagree. I think if I was choosing, I'd always choose the 8 attacks. But the one that we have modeled is modeled with the Rip-Tooth Fist.
Oh, is it really?
So,
fair.
I think. So, I'll just use it as what it's modeled for. His command ability is...
Oh, downgraded version?
18 inches +1 attack to 1 unit.
Oh, attack.
Yeah, +1, to hit rolls for attacks.
Okay.
So +1 to hit.
There's a downgraded version of Gordrakk, which we've seen that.
Yeah.
Played times before.
And it's like meh compared to his old Waaagh ability, but he still has the Waaagh ability. So now you have 2. Cool. So basically that +1 to hit was the Warchanters for free before, and now you got to spend a command point, which I normally would complain about, except that the Warchanter now has a better one that he can do for free. So it's like now you have this option if you need it.
Okay, from the power gaming standpoint, he's 80 points cheaper than Gordrakk. Would you bring him?
He went up in cost, like 20 points at least, maybe even 40. No, Gordrakk went down 20. He went up 40 points. Would I bring him? Absolutely.
You would. From the power gaming standpoint, from bringing the best of the best here.
80 more points is not nothing.
It's not. You're right. It's not nothing.
And he actually has more damage output.
But there's nothing you can buy in this army for 80 points. The cheapest thing is 90.
He's got more damage output than Gordrakk.
Think so?
Well, kind of. The other thing I didn't mention about Gordrakk is that Innard Bursting Bellow that the Maw Crusher does. It used to be 1 shot that did D6 damage, 2s and 3s -1. Now it's 6 shots that do 1 damage, and that's way better.
Oh, it's D6 on the Mega Boss and 6 on, yeah.
So that's basically the way they used to be. It was D6 shots, 2s to hit, 3s to wound, -1, 1. Now it's, and on Gordrakk it was one shot that wounded that did D6 damage, which I hate because I'll never get that through. 2s and 3s -1. Give me 6 attacks, 2s and 3s -1. I'll do some damage to you.
You get something through.
The Inner Bursting Bellow, the Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, that didn't change. D6 attack, so it's not as good as Gordrax.
The one less move.
But we're not talking about a high damaging shooting attack though, and it's only 8-inch range. The destructive bulk on Gordrax is slightly better because it's 9.
I think finding out whether or not they can have a mount trait will make a big factor here.
Yeah, if you get the free mount trait, then that kind of, and also
maybe you can't. That's what.
Whoa! Yes, I would definitely bring the Mega Boss and Maw Crusher because he can take a command trait, and he can give an artifact. So 80 points less.
But if you're doing Big Waaagh, 6 of those. What do you call those points?
Well, then bring both.
Not enough points. I don't think I'll ever do that again.
It's 1,000
The
points.
infantry's gotten so good.
The Maw Crushers are really strong though, so I'll definitely do it because it's fun. But power gaming wise, I don't know. Maybe. The Mega Boss on foot.
He's still so slow.
Well, you use all your free Mighty Destroyers to get close.
On this thing, or on, he's
Mega
so
Boss on
slow.
foot, he's got the Rip 2 Fist, which is the unmodified 6s do 1 damage back. So he's got 6 attacks just like before. Cool thing though. Oh! How could I forget this? Strength from Victory on Gordrak, the Mega Boss, and the Mega Boss on foot. Way better.
Oh yeah.
It used to be that every time they would slay a hero, they would get +1 wound and +1 attack. But here was the specifications. So that was already hard enough to do, by the way. It had to be the Mega Boss that did it. Since the Maw Crusher did it, it didn't count. And the thing that got the +1 attack was the weapon that dealt the killing blow, which never made sense because you don't allocate wounds until you're done all your attacks. And so we'd have to we'll allocate those wounds. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit you with my crap weapon first. Now I'm gonna hit you with this because I want this to kill you. And then I remember the one game where I actually managed to kill a hero. I killed him with my crap weapon, and I'm like, oh, frick. I don't want that one to get the +1 attack. I finally get this. And it was so hard. In all my games, it's happened once. Except in my narrative campaign that I did, for some reason, it happened all the time. With Hammer Thrower, now he's awesome. Now, Strength and Victory is if any enemy models were slain. Then at the end of the combat phase, he gets +1 wound and +1 attacks. And I think, it doesn't matter. Yeah, by this model's attacks, the Maw Crusher could be the killing blow. And you still get that +1. The Maw Crusher doesn't get the +1.
All
the Mega Boss's attacks get +1. Right. And it gets so you're going to see that happening way more often. You shrug, but I'm excited for it because I love the.
It's cool. I
love the idea behind that rule, and it just never worked, and it just always.
The way I see it is, they just have one less attack the first time they fight. Because they're going to kill any kind of yeah. It's good. It's good.
End of the combat phase though.
Yeah, they're going to kill something the first time they're in combat.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if in your enemy's combat phase, you can get another one.
Sure.
And then you charge and you get another one.
Or you can just give them +1 attack right now and ignore that.
I like it. I think it's thematic, and I think you're being a stick in the mud.
Well, I just think here's the thing. I would think of it more thematic if they they had less text in the profile and then gained more from doing it. Like really work up. It's only 1 extra. It could have been more of
But it's also 1 wound on a 7 wound model.
Okay, I'm with you, buddy.
Hammer Thrower got awesome. Okay. And now
it's Matthew likes upgrades mid-game.
Now Luca is terrified of Hammer Thrower because he's coming into this next narrative campaign starting with +3 wounds and +3 attacks because I'm carrying him over from last time. I could have said, well, over the past few years he's fought a few more games, and so now he's +20 wounds and +20 attacks. But maybe we say he calms down between attacks.
Yeah, he loses.
He spends his the more fights he wins, the stronger they become. So anyway, so cool. He's got the same warlord or the command trait, or the command ability, which is +1 hit. Cool. Yeah. Warchanter went up 30 points.
By 3.
No, went up 30 points. Garbage now.
Moving
on. Shaman.
So good.
Okay, so the Warchanter, he went from his ability was +1 to hit to +1 damage, and he gets a free dance, which only works half the time, but it's free. So
yeah,
it's free.
Whatever.
And he went from 4 attacks to 6 attacks.
So good.
Better in close combat too. So yeah, the Shaman changed a lot. His attacks got a little better. He used to have D3 attacks, now he has 3.
Yep.
They got rid of the Foot of Gork, I'm sad and happy at the same time because it was awful, and yet I'd always try to do it. So now I can try something else. Just put a Gork was casting value 10.
That's all I ever seen anybody.
And if you did, you do D6 mortal wounds to something, and then on a 4+, you get to do D6 mortal wounds again, and then you get to keep rolling until you fail that 4+. It never works, but when it does, it's so much fun. So usually I bring the shaman.
Yeah, fun.
He does nothing
the
the whole game. Well, no, because I played 4 games and it didn't do anything. I deserve the one game where it does 40 mortal wounds.
What about your...
There was one game I played. I don't remember all the details. I just remember he was winning. And then I got it off. And it was just like, oh, that hero? And he's gone. Oh, that unit? And it went off. And the funny thing is, I kept rolling like 2 mortal wounds. 4+, okay. 2 mortal wounds. All right. 4+, 2 mortal wounds. Okay, he's dead now. 4+. 3 mortal wounds. Ugh, so few. 4+, 2 mortal wounds. I'm like, come on with the 2s and the 3s, but I just I think I did 10.
It's a lot of averages, right? You keep rolling the 4+, you can get less than 4.
Sure. I'll take it. I'll take 10 2s and 3s rather than 1 D6, and then we're done. So I'm glad that's gone. It was kind of reminiscent of when Age of Sigmar first came out and the silliness that it was.
Yeah, but they're also a little bit fun too.
Yeah. They still have the green puke, which is like the line that does D3 mortal wounds to everything that happened over it.
But you can do that in addition now. You have 10 more.
If it's wholly within a friendly Ironjawz unit with 10 or more models.
18 inches. Wholly within 18 inches of a friendly Ironjawz unit with 10 or more models.
Then it can do the green puke for free in addition to other spells. So basically it's become a level 2 caster, which is nice because you're almost always going to be able to pull that off. If you're bringing a wizard, you got to get them all the way up there. Make sure there's a couple of units with 10 or more.
Didn't they used to have ability where they get +1 to cast for models nearby?
They used to have the ability. It's +1 if they basically count out the number of Ironjawz models within, I want to say 10 inches. And if there's at least 10, they got +1 to cast. If there's at least 20, they got +2 to cast. And but if they did that, if they rolled any doubles, the nearest unit other than them took D3 mortal wounds, which is really cool thematically. And it kind of helped that, you need a 10 to cast, put a Gork. Green puke used to be an 8 to cast. So now they got rid of that plus to cast, but green puke is now only 6 to cast.
Okay.
So it's just easier to cast. So they got rid of that, but now you can just make sure there's a unit nearby and you get to cast 2 spells. Cool. Well, not 2 spells. Green puke and another spell. Let's talk now about the brutes, Gorgrunters, and Ardboys.
How different are the brutes?
They're pretty much the same.
Okay.
The boss claw and brute smash a combo on the boss, and they just now consolidated into one profile.
Right, I noticed that. Yeah.
Because it used to be that you attack the boss claw with 1 attack that hits on a 4, and if you hit, your smash will automatically hit because you basically grab the guy and
cool concept, but slowed the game down too much.
Yeah, now it's just 4 attacks. So they actually made up more attacks now than it was before to make up for that. All their other weapon profiles are the same. They lost the reroll 1s if a mega boss on foot is nearby, which I'm kind of glad about because I always felt like I had to bring a mega boss on foot.
Yeah, but with all the
I know
you don't need that. and
now they used to re-roll hit rolls against things with 4 or more wounds. Now they get +1 to hit. That's a downgrade. Re-rolls better than +1 to hit.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, especially because we have lots of other ways.
Of getting +1 to hit. Yeah.
And they're already like a lot of their attacks are 3s to hit, so getting +2 to hit is just.
Yeah.
If you're playing the Big Waaagh, for example, and you're up to that +1 to hit, they're like, and you're up against a monster, and they're like, well, I hit them on 1s.
I just think
fail.
Their biggest weakness is still that bravery 6.
Yeah, and they have no banners, no drummers.
That's unfortunate.
But before the Ardboys got better, which we're going to talk about in a second, they were still way better than Ardboys.
Yeah.
Ardboys were pillow fisting all the opponents.
Yeah.
Ardboys survived longer, but brutes hit way better.
Ardboys is way better. Way better.
Now Ardboys also went up in points.
Well, they would have
they're
to.
They're now more expensive than brutes.
But these guys got better too, no?
The Ardboys?
No, Gorgrunters.
Gorgrunters got one little change, but they also went up in points. And that change I'm so happy about, because they had the most obnoxious ability, which is if they charged more than 8 inches, meaning they actually started more than 8 inches away, which they never do because they move 9 inches, then your tusks on your boars became D3 damage instead of 1. And I'm just like, when am I ever? I never. I think it came up once where I happened to get that off because I couldn't get closer than 8 inches, and so I just happened to make a long charge. But there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I can move close, or I can stay 8 inches away to try for that D3 damage. It's just no, I'm not going to do that. So now, if they charge, period, each model that gets, It's within an inch. Yeah, every model that gets within an inch gets the 4+ to mortal wound. So they basically do impact hits, so 4+ mortal wounds. And now, when they anytime they charge, the Gore Grunta itself, the tusks and hooves of the whatever they call the thing that they're, the Gore Gruntas, they're pigs, get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. So they now have 3s and 3s instead of 4s and 4s, which is nice. And they give you a reason to bring the spears. Because they basically have 2 weapons: a spear, which is a longer range but 1 less attack, or just the two weapons, which is more attacks but shorter range. But because they're usually a small unit, you rarely got that 2 inches. It was useful, but not for the -1 hit or -1 attack. But now, if you charge, the spear or the jagged Warclans, it gets +1 to hit and +1 to wound as well.
Yeah, I like this. So, how much points did they go up? Because I don't think they actually did.
Gore Gruntas went from 140 to 160.
Okay, so mine, I think they're useful now.
Brutes went down from 170 to 140. So when you say that they're not as good, they are now
still. Well, I like the models, so the models are enough for me to buy them and bring them. But
yeah, the Brutes went down, and the Ard Boys went up in points cost. So now Ard Boys are they used to be 140 points for 10. Now they're 180 points for 10. Do
you remember when I talked about my game where I said I played the Iron Fist and I gave the Brutes the boss and they run off on their own?
Yeah.
Because they're bad leadership, I will never do that again. I would allow the Ard Boys to do it.
Right. Yeah, no,
I need these Brutes
to
to
Ard Boys is the same leadership, but they have the banner that's +2 bravery. It used to be plus bravery if there's enemies close by. Now it's just +2 bravery, period.
So effectively bravery 8.
And they have a second
type of
they
banner.
always had 2 standards. The other one was like if they ran on a 6+, they wouldn't. Now it's -1 bravery to anybody within 3 inches of that banner, which is nice. Ard Boys.
Oh, man, okay, Ard Boys.
Here's the changes if you want to see it. See, those were what they were before.
Okay, forget what the stats were. They were used to something. Okay, so 3s and 4s.
It's a big change in their stats.
Okay, 4s to hit, 3s to wound, no rend.
3s to hit, 3s to wound, 1 rend.
3s and 3s with a rend.
But they lost 1 attack and went from 3 to 2.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair. It's a good trade.
That's a great trade.
3s and 3s with a rend is amazing. Keep in mind, you're gonna have Warchanters. Now these guys have 2 wounds.
Yeah.
If they're expensive. I think it's 90 for 5.
Yeah.
They're expensive. They only have a 4-inch move, but if they were any faster, this would be one of the greatest infantry squads in the game. If this was on 25 mil bases, this would be a huge outcry. It's almost as bad as the, what do you call those guys?
Hearthguard Berserkers?
Yes, them. Almost as bad as those guys. Not because they're resilient.
They're on 32 mil bases.
I know.
They got 2 inch reach.
They're not as resilient as the Hearthguard, obviously. They're not. That's what they're about. They're just slow-moving super hitters.
And they were never that before. They were always like you brought them to hold objectives because they are more survivable than a brute. Because for the same points, you could get 20 wounds instead of 15, and they could bring the shields to ignore wounds on a 6. Now the cool thing is they've allowed you because now it's just Ardboy Choppas. So it used to be 3 different weapon profiles. Yeah. The double-handed weapon where they're like this, 2 weapons, and weapon shield. And you're always giving up something. This one was 1 less attack but got a rend. These ones got more attacks but no rend. And then the shield got 1 less attack but ignored wounds on a 6+.
Simplify it.
Now all of them are the same. So this and this are the same. But 2 out of every 5 of your models can bring shields. They have the same number of attacks as the other guys, so they're technically better. And when you allocate wounds to them, they ignore it on the 6.
In my game, in the vault, I tried 2 units of 20. Just the idea of hopefully that -1 hit keeps them alive and see how killy they are with that 2 damage.
They're killy.
Yeah.
3. This is okay, just remember. Let's flip back for a second. Mega Boss, 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2. Okay. Here, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 with the Warchanter upgrade. Okay.
So 3
so
is
the
a
Warchanter
boss.
throws an upgrade on him, and 3 of these guys have the same damage output as a Mega Boss.
And
that's nuts.
Or more when you Waaagh, right? Because I mean,
forget that. Because you're not just gonna have 3. You're gonna have 5.
I know.
You're gonna have 10. Now, mind you, they're 32 mil bases, so you're not, bringing 10.
I don't think I had more than in my 20-man squad. I don't think I ever had more than maybe 10 to 14 attack at once.
Right.
Or onto 1 squad at a time.
Yeah.
But these are of a pretty interesting. Okay, so this book is interesting now. Of a pretty interesting book, this is the clear winner. You're gonna see Ardboys sell. I bet you if you go on the store right now, they're out of stock.
I have. Yeah.
We've seen this time and time again.
Everything, thankfully.
We had and that's why I brought them too. We have tons of Ardboys, tons of them.
We have lots of everything, thankfully, so we can really show it. I think the only thing I'd want
we need more
is
brutes.
I think we only have like 20 of them.
19.
We've Lost one.
Yeah.
What the heck? And we moved, so we know it's gone. Don't know where it's gone. So yeah, so Brutes got an upgrade basically by going down in points. Warchanters went up in points a little bit, but got a nice upgrade to their charges. Ardboys went up in points by 40 points.
So the Ardboys were the unit you held back, and the Brutes you sent forward. Now it's the other way around. Ardboys are going to be a little faster, a little more resilient on their own.
That's the other thing too. They have the drum, which gives them +2 charge.
Right.
They have they're basically going to be bravery 8, as opposed to bravery 6 in the Brutes.
And the Brutes will be absolutely fine.
Bring the command, like the drum and that would make
it amazing. Amazing. But now I want to keep the Brutes closer to a character, just because I'm afraid of having these semi-expensive models flee, because they're bravery 6. That's it.
So, in case you're wondering, there's no endless spells for them.
Unfortunately,
we're not gonna go over the Bonesplitterz because
don't know really what they do.
We don't really have any things. So, the last thing I want to do is quickly go over the relative change in points, and we've seen both points go up and down. When it comes to battalions for the Ironjawz, they all went down in points, pretty much, except for the Iron Fist. Surprisingly, did not go down in points.
Well, that's it's pretty good.
All the other ones went down significantly in points, like 40, 40, 40, 20. So that's a lot. What are you doing?
I'm checking our airport. Go ahead.
You doing some math?
I just saw something. I don't know if it's new.
You have to get more attacks.
Yeah, more attacks so the Arrow Boys for Savage Orcs have more attacks on 15 models instead of 20. Which will help because you don't have to buy 30 anymore.
Yeah, you bring in 20 down, you lose 1.
Yeah.
I lost my bonus. Okay, so Mega Boss went up 10 points. Warchanters went up 30 points. Shamans went down points.
Okay.
Savage Big Boss went down. So did the Wardock. The Wargog Prophet went up in points. Gordrak went down. Mega Boss on Maw Crusher went up. Ardboys went up hard. Like I said, now you can buy them in 5s now though, and that's nice because we've always lacked a cheap battle line. Because it used to be that you had to buy them in 10s, and so it's like, I don't want to bring them because then I have to bring 10. Now, for 90 points, you can just bring 5.
Which, unfortunately, is still the cheapest thing in the book. Other than those, what you call Iron Skulls boys are 80 points. Well, how much is the Wardock? Oh, 80.
It's 80.
Yeah.
Bring a Wardock, man.
I don't have any
I appreciate when every army needs a cheap, small squad. Because I always found playing Ironjawz, any like multiple objective game, it's like, I got to put all 10 of these guys back on this, or 5 Brutes, or 3 Warchanters. Nobody wants to hold that. So, but 5 Ardboys, yeah, I'll bring 5 Ardboys.
It's still 10 wounds with 4 up save.
And ignoring 6s for the first couple guys, right?
Yeah.
Brutes went down very much, went from 170 to 140. Warchanters went up a little bit. Boar Boys went up
I want to play this army now. It's just...
Arrow Boys went down. More Boys kind of went up. They lost their max size reduction.
Yeah.
Yes, there's 120 per 10 now. They don't get to save 60 on the last. And I didn't look at the battalions for the Bonesplitterz to know if they went up.
That's fair.
So if you're a huge horse, there's probably going to be more people here caring about Ironjawz than the Bonesplitterz. So overall, I am looking forward to playing this.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good book.
I'm going to be playing it in the narrative campaign, but in this narrative campaign that we're doing, I actually use the allegiance abilities and stuff, so it's not just like throwing in a few models. We're playing 1,500 point games with the allegiance abilities, so it'll be fun, or 2,000 point games, so it'll be fun to actually let them see, let me play the new book and see them in a narrative campaign right away too, so it'll be kind of fun. So we're all done. Go check out the battle report of Ironjawz versus Hedonites of Slaanesh in the MiniWarGaming Vault, link below. Also, go check out the other videos for today, the Cities of Sigmar First Impressions, as well as the Cities of Sigmar versus Edna Deepkin battle report. Thanks so much for watching. Happy wargaming.